Alright, well, massive news has come to the Call of Duty esports scene, and here I am to break it down for you a little bit and give you my thoughts on it because it is quite a significant change. So, I'm going to read out exactly what is happening and then we'll go through and kind of break that down with some extra thoughts as well. So, the big news that happened at 3 a.m. if you're American or morning if you're not, is the Call of Duty League put out a video which you just saw saying the Call of Duty League has now gone to PC plus controller, which is a fantastic news. I thought it might be coming at some point. They've done it for a little while, and I'll explain why. But also, that the Challengers is going to Crossplay. Big news. One news that wasn't on the video, which is being one of these parts that I'm going to read out, is also the fact that Challengers will now have a dedicated broadcast. Thank you, it should have never not had one, but never mind. Right, so September the 14th, 2020 marks the official start date of the 2021 season of the Call of Duty League. So, they've talked about a platform transition. The League is announcing it will move pro team competition to PC plus controller beginning with this season. This means all pro matches will be played on PC and all pro players must use a League approved controller of their choice. Interesting take on that one, because it does mean that you can't just use any controller. It means that the league will have to approve, and I assume check the controllers of pro players, but it does mean things like Xbox controllers and standard PS4 and scuffs and should all be in there. I don't know what else they're going to allow, but I imagine some controller companies will come in and say, hey, can we use this? And they'll be approved or not by the league, depending on their modification ability, right? Fantastic. Also means no more Cronuses or anything like that at events, so thank God for that. As part of this transition, the Call of Duty League competition will maintain exclusive use of controllers for the upcoming season. This change provides players with an expanded choice of controller, like I just spoke about, and that's basically it. We'll go back to this because the League of Pro controller is really interesting. I've had to do something like that before when I was working with another tournament organizer. The other part of this is, for the first time in Call of Duty esports history, competitors will be able to compete online in Call of Duty Challengers on their platform of choice across console and PC. So, they are going to test whether platform hardware and whether or not they will make restrictions if necessary. So, if you're Xbox, PC, PS4, you can play in Challengers regardless. You will be playing if you're already competing in one of those, you will be playing against other ones of that. They are now saying it is an open system, so it's very interesting. We'll come back to this one as well because Adam Apicella said some very interesting things on the way open events work, and we'll try and figure out roughly how that will work going on. Players are required to use controllers still in Challengers. Mouse and keyboard peripherals will not be allowed, so we haven't gone fully to mouse and keyboard quite yet, even in Challengers. Any LAN Challengers event that takes place during the season will be played on PC. Competitors may plug in their league-approved controller of choice. More information on changes to Challengers, including rules, regulations, and how the league will monitor the competition, will be revealed in the coming weeks. Very interesting. And then obviously the last part is the dedicated Challenger broadcast. During the inaugural season of the Call of Duty League, we introduced dedicated broadcasts throughout the 2020 Call of Duty League Challenger season. For the 2021 season, we are planning to introduce new programs that will continue to spotlight top Challengers talent throughout the year. We're not ready to share specific details on this yet, but we will be releasing more details in the upcoming weeks. So they have essentially learned that you do have to broadcast Challengers, which is great, something I've always pushed for, and I'm not going to lie, I did think it was kind of stupid not doing it last year, but it's changed. We will forgive, we will move on. So, let's talk about this. So, first of all, I'm not surprised, because when you go to PC, it gives you a lot more options. It gives you the ability to do things you just can't do on console. It's a much more open software. And from what I understood, there was a lot of hosting going on PC anyway. Funny enough, Call of Duty has done this for a little while, and some of you may not know this. A lot of the multiplayer events that I've been to and hosted in the past with Call of Duty, in Cologne and various other places, have had what I like to call PS4 shadow cabinets. I don't say I like to call it that. That's something I made up, but it kind of makes sense, right? So, when I went to an event for the Call of Duty multiplayer, and there was pros there, and we were revealing it, they had PS4s, or it might even be Xboxes that long ago, on the platform, and then there was a controller coming out of it and the screen. right? But the controller wasn't coming out of the actual PS4. It was at the back. And what actually they used to do, and probably still do it, to be fair, is there would be a PC inside the cabinet, and that's what you'd actually be playing on. Obviously, because it's easier for them to set up, they can lock it behind various doorways and just basically put that software onto the PC. Can't really do that with a console. It doesn't work as well. It's a kind of more open stuff. They could have put a disc in, but I don't know if it would have improved. Lots of mess, but they have actually used PCs for some of these big reveals that you just haven't noticed in the past. If you've gone to an event like Gamescom, for instance, and played Call of Duty, very good chance it was actually on PC. You just wouldn't have noticed because they obviously cover it up. Not all the time, but it has happened in the past. It allows so many things. Like, we are now hoping for a pause feature for competitive. Obviously, with the problems and challenges that have been faced this year, it would be a very nice thing to have. Being able to reset the game to a specific point in time, or being able to, I don't know, give people their streaks back or their dead silence. All of this, hopefully, will be included in the functionality of a PC broadcast system for Call of Duty. Obviously, the professional players will now have to have a PC, but it also means they don't have to upgrade to PS5. So the money that would usually be spent or sent to them, because some of the sometimes hardware is sent to the pros, they can now put into a PC instead. And with the recent release of the 3070 series and the 3080 series, meaning that they can get a lot of power for a lot less price than they would have done before. I'm sure we're going to see some great builds come out of the PC, guys. Just a heads up, don't have to worry about getting a pre-built if you are thinking about changing to PC. Now, PCs are so easy to build. It is literally adult Lego. You put it all together, you don't push too hard, you don't do anything stupid, and you can build it in a couple of hours. And you get to pick your parts, and all your parts will have warranties anyway, so unless you do something like putting it in with a hammer, you'll be fine. It does give you more choice in what you want to compete on in the following year. If you want to upgrade a tool, from what I understand, obviously PS4 is still included, and you can play on that, or the PS5, or the Xbox, or the new Xbox X, or the PC, right? All into one. Can't play on the Switch yet, unfortunately, but we'll get to that. So it's super interesting that they've done this. The other part of this is the League-approved controller. So for a League-approved controller, obviously they're going to have to test out various companies. Now, I had this when I was at Gfinity, when we were allowing other controller companies to bring their events to LAN, bring their hardware to LAN. They had to basically send in a controller, and we would check it out and check the internals and figure out whether or not we would approve it. It was kind of just a step. It didn't really do anything. I don't think we really outlawed any controllers going forward, just the obvious ones that come with mod packs. But yeah, so that's interesting. It doesn't scream exclusivity, because you think maybe Scuff would stick their oar in and maybe do a deal with them, but I don't know if that's going to happen quite yet, because it doesn't make sense when you've got all people who want to use Xbox controllers and all other controllers, so we'll see what aftermarket controllers are allowed. But it is incredible. It does mean we're going to see higher quality gameplay, because on PC it looks incredible. It means some pros will have to upgrade to stream if they want to, because streaming on PC is harder. And obviously it is another gateway, but truthfully, if you are a pro player going into it, you are going to have the funds and the means to upgrade to this level. So it's not like it's a barrier to the Pro League. It's just one of these where it's going to happen. And if you become a professional, you're going to have money from your contract, and most franchises will probably just send you the basic hardware you need anyway to play. You just got to be a little bit more savvy in terms of updating your PC and everything, and making sure it's all good. I'm sure when it comes to the LAN events, they are going to have the best PCs they can possibly have. And it hopefully should, increase speed on everything, because things like, I remember back, I think it was StarCraft, you had an SSD, and you would basically have a box, not a box, what is it called? It's called a slot, and you just put your SSD in, and it would just load up all your profiles. Everything you want will be just straight in there. So no logging in, no nothing, just in you go, and essentially that would load the game straight in, and they could do that again. It wouldn't surprise me for them to have that as a system going forward. But obviously I am a big fan of this. I think for the professional side of it, PC is going to give us a lot more options, and it's going to look great. Challenges one is interesting as well. Obviously, mouse and keyboard being banned is a good thing at the moment. I know people are going to, we want to play mouse and keyboard, but it allows Xbox players to get back into the league. It allows people who just want to play on PC to get in the league. It means nobody has to upgrade to a PS5 if they don't want to, because we've done that before from the Xbox to the Xbox One, and now obviously we're going to be doing it again with the new generation of consoles. And I'm going to see a lot of people out there buying and building PCs to compete. It may be a little bit more difficult because it's easier to stream with a console to PC For instance, mine, I might have to think about upgrading if I want to stream on PC. It currently won't do it very well, or at least not in good enough quality where I'm happy with it. So my PS4 Pro and my PC, while my PC is still pretty good for rendering and stuff, it's not powerful enough to do both at the same time. And of course, limits on the PC downloading and stuff means you're going to need some big hard drives to kind of throw that one in and make sure that it's okay. But in other words, it's pretty good, right? The biggest one, I think, is any LAN Challengers event that takes place during the season will be played on PC. This is a logistical nightmare. PCs are more expensive. They can be harder to transport because sometimes you have to take the graphics card out. It depends on how they're being transported. I imagine they have a really good system for it. It does mean that they can swap bits in and out, but it will have to probably have like a system that just allows it to identify controllers. Like I know at the moment I use something called DS4W, I think, and that allows me to play with my Scuff Impact and put that into the PC, which I'm currently plugged in right here. And that means, you know, they'll have to keep a little bit of a closer eye on some of the admin stations, and it could be more logistical nightmare. I remember seeing Adam Apicella, if you don't know who that is, basically ran League Ops for MLG back in the day, now runs Esports Engines. He knows what he's talking about. Trust me, he said, you know, this is obviously a bigger challenge to run events, and it may end up being smaller open events. I really hope that's not true, but I can understand why. It is not as much of a closed system of just plugging in a PS4 and, what is it, I'm just going to double check mine, 4 wires, usually. It's it. And a monitor. So we'll see how that actually ends up coming out. But Challenges is about to be crazy because there could be a whole raft of talent that haven't really competed for on Xbox might give it a go now because it's crossplay. So we will see. And obviously the last thing is the dedicated Challenges broadcast, right? This should have always been a thing. I have talked about it a few times. Challenges, in my mind, is very important and should be seen as like the collegiate version of, you know, sports, you know, like the NFL and the NBA and all this sort of stuff. They have a great collegiate level. Challenges needs to be built back up and reimagined as a product. I have had some thoughts on this in a video that I will do at some point because last year's system was not great, right? It was a difficult system for amateurs to get any recognition or progress themselves at all, and I think really kind of locked down some avenues for it, and it kind of seemed like the Call of Duty League didn't want to do it, but we'll see how they go with this next one. There's going to be more updates coming in the future, but truthfully, this is a big, big amount of news coming out of Activision. Obviously, I think they released it at the wrong time. I don't think it was supposed to go out at 3 a.m. in the morning in America, but it has, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. Please put it in the YouTube. Please tweet me, because this is unbelievable in terms of what it will do to progress Call of Duty forward. We're now PC, boys. I'll see you on this other side.